Thank you so much for spending another part of your day here with me. I really appreciate it. A very special welcome to those of you that are brand new. I really do appreciate you guys being a part of this journey because this is something different. This is not my usual makeup content. It is in a tangential kind of way, but it's different. It's a different part of my journey. So we're all bonded here by makeup. We like makeup. We like watching people try makeup. We like watching looks being created. That's what we're here for. That's what bonds us together. But part of this is we know that there's just so much. There's so much advertisement going on. There's so many products being dropped. There's so much, and it gets overwhelming, and consumerism is just pushed on us so hard in this community. And we've all banded together and really started to fight back. And this is something I've really struggled with. I have tried to do project panning games a little unsuccessfully at times. I've tried to not buy into the hype. I've tried not to get excited over new releases. I've tried and I failed. But I think I'm ready now, you guys. I think I'm ready. So behind the scenes, I have been working on a planner. And I've been writing quotes. I've been tracking numbers. I have been just seeing if tracking it on paper would help me curb my spending. And it has. It really has, you guys. And so I think I'm ready to share a little bit about what I've been doing and why, and if I think it's helping, and I do. So I am a planner. I like to plan for things in the future, even if they're not happening yet. So I just want to see how much can I cut my makeup spending, my makeup and beauty spending, so that we can free up that much more income in the future. Because I was telling Sean, like, I don't want to be 10 kids deep and then figure out, oh, we can't afford food, clothes, any of that. And that's not even close to the situation we're in today, but what if, you know, can I cut down my makeup spending enough to free up enough income to make the life I want possible without having to return to work, because I don't want to return to work, at least not when my kids are young. And so this is just something I am trying for myself just to see. And also, we're taking a pretty expensive trip next week. It's about $10,000, and I don't want this to be a one-time trip. I want to be able to take this trip again at some point. Maybe not next year, maybe not the year after even, but I do want to take it again. I don't want it to be a once-in-a-lifetime thing for these kids. So if I can free up $500 a month in discretionary spending, that's $6,000 a year, you know? So seriously, how much can I cut it down? And how can that change our life? So I'm going to start with the catalyst for all this. And again, this is me. This is not something Sean's asking of me. This is not something Sean's forcing on me. This is me wanting to do better for myself and for my family. So you guys know how I feel about cheetah print. Of course, I had to choose the cheetah print journal because this is the only way. It's an academic planner technically, but this is the only way I think I would actually use it, because superficial stuff like that just inspires me, you know? You guys know I'm a husband's girl. I'm a husband's girl in real life too. Michelle Davison with hearts, because that's my name. I get to have his name. I'm such a freaking... I really am like that though. I side Davison with a heart. Like, yeah, I love my husband. This is what really... This was the start. These are the real numbers for my spend in the month of July compared to Sean's. And I wrote down what was spent and how much it was. In the month of July, Sean spent $170 on everything. That's coffee, eating out, anything he wanted to buy. And most of that was for me and the kids. It was board games. It was coffee for me. It was, of his $170, most of that was not even for him. And he's the one that works. And he has 100-hour work weeks, 1 week a month. $170. Sean did absolutely phenomenal. And this is like kind of hard to say. This is hard to say. This is hard to admit, but you know what? This is part of my journey, and I am doing a lot better, and I'm going to continue to do even better than this. But this really was where I started, and I feel like sharing it is a part of my journey, so I'm going to. In food alone, so this was eating out, this was pizza, this was coffees that I purchased, $250, which is better than where it was. There was a point where I was getting Starbucks every single day, which alone, so 8 times 7 is 45. So about $200 in just coffee is what a month is what I used to spend. So that is an improvement from where it was, but we still have a long way we can go with that number. In terms of makeup in the month of July, I spent $661.53. $661 on makeup. That's more than some people spend in a year. So this is when I realized something had to change. And I'm looking at these purchases, and it's like I'm buying pizza 3 to 4 times a week. I'm getting makeup 3 to 4 times a week. I mean, it's insanity. These numbers are absurd. Absurd. So then I was like, okay, something has to change. So I wrote down a quote, my motivational quote for that week. This is when I bought the journal, so that's why literally nothing else is filled out. It was, create an environment that makes healing and getting better easier. So to me, that just, and I didn't come up with these quotes. These are quotes that I found on the internet. So whether that's Google, Pinterest, Instagram, Facebook, I don't know. I didn't care enough to quote sources because I'm not going to claim these as my own. These are for me and my healing. So I don't know who the authors are of any of these quotes, but just know that I'm not the author of any of these quotes. To me, that just screamed, I want to save money. I want to stop over consuming. I need to work on my mental health and managing stress better and just being grateful and appreciative for staying home with my kids, for not having to get a job, and for having all the makeup I could possibly want or need. And once I really internalize that, the saving money and the spending less will come. So just really focusing on the journal, focusing on my why, and just being very intentional with my purchases and with all of it. Just being intentional with my consumerism. So then this is where I really started to write in the journal. This is when I started to really get serious. So this week, my priority once again was create an environment that makes healing and getting better easier. And this week, just reading these quotes really quickly, I really struggled with mental health. I do have OCD, anxiety, PTSD, and depression that I am getting therapy and medication for. So these quotes were very much helping me work through a pretty low time this particular week. But the quotes that I chose this week are, not everything that weighs me down is mine to carry. When I'm feeling anxious, I need to remember it's just a thought, and thoughts can be changed. I do not have to control my thoughts. I just have to stop allowing them to control me. I've suffered many great catastrophes in my life, most of which never happened. The assurance of safety I seek does not exist. Every time I challenge an intrusive thought, I reclaim my power, and I trust the process of recovery, even when it feels challenging. So these were the quotes I really focused on this particular week. Again, working on my mental health, being in the moment, and managing stress better is the starting off point for me to control my spending. So this week I really prioritized mental health, and those are the quotes that I chose that week to accomplish that goal. Moving on to the following week. Again, my priority was create an environment that makes healing and getting better easier. But I did add another bullet point to it this week. Focus on what matters most. Family. So to me, that screams that this week, I really wanted to shift my focus from consumerism to my kids, to being home, to how lucky I am that I get to be home with my kids and not have to work, not even part-time. I just get to be home with my kids. I get to raise them. I get to support them, love them. Sean affords me that opportunity, and that's something incredible and something I'm super, super grateful for and something I always dreamed of. So I already have everything I ever wanted right here in front of me today. And that's really what I wanted to focus on this particular week. So these quotes are a little bit different than the previous week, but again, it's all progress. It's all part of my journey. The beauty of life is in small moments, not big events. Go where you are celebrated, not tolerated. If you had a friend that talked to you the way you talk to yourself, how long would you allow that person to be your friend? The good days are starting right now. Good character, like soup, is usually homemade. Life is what happens when you're busy making other plans, and when you reach your lowest point, you are open to the greatest change. I really like these quotes. Like, reading back, I'm like, I know why I wrote these as my inspirational quotes. Okay, then, this is the month of August. I did much better. I only tracked my spending this month, not Sean's, because Sean does incredible anyway, so I don't need to keep tabs on him. And not like he needs me to keep tabs on him anyway. The only reason I had his figures written down for July is because he asked me. Otherwise, I wouldn't have tracked his at all. On food this month, I spent $150.26. And honestly, I am okay with that number. I, as I mentioned, have an eating disorder, and I cut down $100 from July to August. I'm satisfied with $150. I think that that's phenomenal for me, and that's not all my spending. When I go out to eat, I get food for the kids too, not just myself. And so $150 for a month for, I guess it's the four of us that eat when we go out, me and my three bigger kids. That's pretty good. I'm okay with that. If I can maintain $150, I'm satisfied. On makeup, so remember how last month I spent $600 and something? I spent $292.56 in the month of August, which still, it's still high. It's still more than some people spend in a year. But it's half of what I spent in the month of July. So clearly, what this is telling me is what I'm doing is working. I am making progress towards getting better, and I see the results. My spend for the month of July was almost $1,000 of discretionary spending. My spending for the month of August in discretionary spending is $450, a little bit less than $450. There's still room to improve, but that right there, that freed up, $500 that we could spend towards saving, that we now get to spend on our trip rather than on just stupid nonsense. And the worst part of all of this, you guys, is the fact that you guys see my empties videos. You see the rate at which I get through products. I have, one eyeshadow pan in my whole collection? One? I wouldn't say maybe two, but I think one is more. One for sure. And I'm spending $300 a month on makeup. I'm not trying to get that number to zero. If that happens, that's wonderful. That's not my goal. but I don't need to be spending $300 a month on makeup. So we're going in the right direction. We're trending downward. We're not where I want to be yet, but we're getting there. In addition to the quotes that I pick out and write in my journal, the planner comes with quotes. So I think the quote that's in the month of August is very fitting. The best preparation for tomorrow is doing your best today. And that was by an H. Jackson Brown Jr. I'm doing the best I can, and you can see the progress, and we're getting better. So I had some pretty difficult things happen in the month of August. My narcissistic no contact family sent me some interesting mail. We'll just leave it that way. Some interesting mail. And so I focused on, I didn't even finish all the quotes, and I skipped a couple weeks of quotes because I was just really trying to work through this. But these were the quotes I chose. I will show the younger parts of me that I can protect them now by setting necessary boundaries and speaking my truth. My peace doesn't depend on their apology, just on knowing I deserve more. And trauma isn't just the bad stuff that happened, it's also the good stuff that never happened. And I just let those 3 quotes marinate for a couple weeks. I didn't write any other quotes that week, the week after, or even the week after that. Today, I picked the book back up and I filled out this week's goals. And I'm excited. I'm excited about them. So this week's goals are to be happy with what I have and to save money. Small amounts saved daily add up to huge investments in the end. And for me, that was just screaming, not spending $300 a month on makeup means saving $4,000 a year, which means we can take this big vacation every 2.5, 3 years if I just didn't do this. And I don't need to do this. I don't need to. We'll talk more about that once I read these quotes, but you guys can start to see the progression here. You can start to see why I'm finally ready, and I'm putting my journey out there to hold myself accountable, but I think this time really is the time where I'm going to be successful with this. Don't think of saving money as a punishment. Think of saving money as a lifestyle change and a means to financial freedom. Once you really accept that spending money doesn't equal happiness, you have half the battle won. Do not wait for scarcity to arrive and start saving water from today. If you live for having it all, what you have is never enough. A simple fact that is hard to learn is that the time to save money is when you have some. Collect memories, not things. So then I started filling out my calendar for September. And you guys see my vacation. I have my shitty drawing. And then my daughter's kindergarten is on there. And then I put their school lunches because I am making them school lunch. So I put what I'm going to pack them for lunches for the whole month. Beef and vegetables, PB&J, grilled cheese. I'm going to do pizza Fridays. So I'm going to make them pizza. I'm not sure if it's going to be homemade pizza every Fridays, but it's either going to be like DiGiorno in the oven or it's going to be homemade pizza every Friday. And then I'm going to do like tacos, PB&Js, chicken pot pies, that kind of stuff. But then on the side here, I wrote down just our like bills and just figures and how much left over is there? How much discretionary income really is there? And seeing how much there truly is of discretionary income, and if we saved half of our discretionary income and put half of it towards paying off our cars or paying down student loans, how much more discretionary income would that free up? How quickly? So that was just really telling for me, and that really was the catalyst, just seeing there's so much here and I've been literally throwing it in the garbage. Like, it's crazy to me. It is insane to me. My husband, he really does make a pretty good living, and he does not spend that much money. I can't even tell you the last time my husband bought himself a video game. I can't tell you the last time my husband really splurged on himself, but I'm over here spending $1,000 a month on makeup and stuff. Like, are you joking me? So, my why. We are about to take an incredible vacation for these kids. We are staying at the Disneyland Hotel. Yep, the Disneyland Hotel. And we are going for a few nights. And when my dad took me to Disneyland as a child, we didn't stay in no Disneyland hotel. We stayed like off campus, and we walked sometimes an hour one way to get to the gates, and we didn't eat there for like every meal. We walked to the McDonald's and then we walked back, and it was just me. This is all 4 kids, and granted, mama here is still just breastfed. No food from mama. She's gonna be 5.5 months when we go, but no food from mama. I don't start solids with my babies until they're closer to 8 months usually. We might do 7 months with her because she's a hungry girl, and mama gets mastitis every month because you cause an oversupply because you eat so much milk. Yeah, you do. But my why is I want this for them. I want them to continue to have just the best childhood and have opportunities I never had because my husband makes way more money than my dad ever did. But there's also more of us that he has to support. And we own a house, and I want to pay off our cars, and I want to have all the babies, and I want to be home with all my babies, and I just want the best life for my family. And I don't want my husband to be stressed, and the least I can do is be grateful for what I have and not overconsume. So I should even do my inventory of, I have an absurd amount of things and I'm just not getting through them. You guys see my empties videos. You see that I'm emptying like 1, 2, 3 things a month, and it's never a big ticket thing. It's always like a travel sized mascara, and I'm not gonna dismiss that progress because that is progress. At least things are getting emptied. But the rate at which I'm consuming $600 a month, $300 a month, you should see products dropping like flies at that rate, and you're just not. And one pan, I have one eyeshadow pan in my collection. I probably have 20 eyeshadow palettes at this point, and I have one pan. The rate at which I'm using things up is not the rate at which I am consuming. So I don't need to be spending this money. I have lots of beautiful things, and I say it time and time again. Every time I look at my makeup collection, I'm pulling out eyeshadow palettes, and I'm in love with the looks I'm creating. I don't own a single eyeshadow palette where I'm like, oh, it's that one. I'm excited about all of them. And it's kind of funny, as I'm looking at my Instagram looks, they all look similar. Because my tastes are what they are. I like what I like. I like cool tone. I like pink, blues, purples, blacks. I like it. And a lot of my looks come out similar, even though the palettes are different. So I'm thinking about the things that have caught my eye from the Christmas releases and the new releases and the stuff that I missed out on because I didn't buy it when it came out. And I'm like, it's all cool toned, blue, pink, black palettes. And I'm gonna use them the exact same way I use the 20 I have now. And I want to spend my money in a different way. I don't want to keep buying things that I'm having a hard time getting through, that I am going to end up throwing in the garbage because there's just not enough time to get through it before it's going to go bad. So am I tempted by new releases? Yes, I am. Do I want to try new formulas and try new makeup and buy new things? I do, and I am going to allow myself to continue to do that. But I want to make sure it's something I want, and I want to make sure it's something I'm going to use. I don't want it to be just another cool tone palette just because I can, just because Sean will let me, just because it helps me with my stress right then. I want it to be a smart, well thought out purchase. And so that is why I am ready. I want to see my spending continuing to go down. I want to see my empties go up, my overall inventory numbers go down, and my number of pans really go up, because I'm ready. I'm ready to change my consumerism. I'm ready to really appreciate what I have and really stop being so materialistic, because it's not about the materials. It is a hobby. It's something I enjoy. But what I love the most is being home with my kids, being comfortable to go on vacations, to take them to do nice things, to buy them things they like, to not even think about it, not even have to check the account to be like, can we buy them a new bicycle? Because of course we can. Like, I want that to continue no matter how many kids we have. And I don't want what my mother-in-law is saying. She always says, what if you get to a point where you can't afford to feed, clothe, do nice things for them, go on vacation? I don't want to reach that point. So as the quotes I chose for this week said, when you're not strapped for resources is the time when you need to be making these changes. So I'm motivated, I'm ready, I am going to hold myself accountable, and I'm really excited for this next leg of my journey because it's overdue. So thank you guys again for all your support and love and encouragement, and a really special thanks to to Kay Makeup Lens, because she always reminds us you don't need the newest thing, you don't need to shop, you need to be selfish with your money, you need to be conservative with your purchases, because brands don't care about you. They want your money. They will take your money 30 times a year if you'll let them. Their job is to sell product, and they don't care if you use it. You can buy it and never pick it up. You can buy it and throw it in the garbage. They don't care. But you want to spend your money in healthier and smarter ways. So again, thank you, baby. My daughter got me flowers. These are our flowers from our bushes. I am a little bit nervous though, because you keep bringing... Citra, there's a spider web on that. There's a spider. I'm scared there's gonna be a spider on it. I don't like bugs. But anyway, thank you for being a part of my journey, and I look forward to continuing to see my progress and what goals can I accomplish when I start putting these resources in different places. Thank you, love. I would imagine it's going to be all good stuff. Are you excited to start school?
Yeah, I am.
My big kindergartner. Yeah, my flowers. My big kindergartner is starting school. I'm not ready for you to start school.
I picked up.
Are you going to be so sad?
Yeah, I brought a whole bunch of beauty.
Yes, you did. Yes, you did. Anyway, I will see you guys next time. Bye.